大怪盗アルセーヌ・ルパンが残した不思議な宝物ルパンコレクションがギャングラーに奪われた。失ったものを取り戻すために戦う怪盗、世界の平和を守るために戦う警察、君はどっちを応援する？
Hello and welcome to LupinRecap vs. PatReview, the podcast that's stirring up a storm. I am your host, Lokamasi. With me is my lovely co-host, Fefner Masamune.
I'm a phantom thief at Lupin's Masquerades. Please, don't take off my mask revealing dark. Thanks. And since you don't know any Persona 5 songs other than Last Surprise, that's Beneath the Mask, just so you know.
Oh, so the song that says you'll never see it coming is called Last Surprise. Okay.
See, you learned a couple new things.
Uh-huh. And that's right. We are a Lupin Ranger vs. Pot Ranger recap and review podcast. Today we're covering episode 48. But before that, let's have a little talk about status quos and how they change. It seems a little ass backwards to do this one after Endgames, but I still wanted to talk about it. Depending on how often you change things in what is otherwise considered normal in your show, the last few episodes can feel really different or they can fall really flat.
Mm-hmm.
Just started watching Kamen Rider X-Aid. Things happen all the time in that show, to the point where it's really hard to get an actual status quo.
Which, you know, from a tokusatsu show, actually pretty rad.
Yeah.
No one would expect it.
But to tie that in with the endgame, the way that, I don't want to get too specific, but they kind of have to really flag the endgame.
Mm-hmm. Just a villain walks in shouting, "I'm the last one."
You're not wrong.
If you kill me, you're good.
At one point, the character does say, "I'm the final boss."
I guess it would kind of work.
So yeah, in other shows, you would have been able to tell that, alright, things are getting serious, similar to this show. But with XA, they kind of had to be a little on the nose with saying, this is the final thing, everyone, get ready. Oh darn, I had an example and I forgot about it.
Whoops. See, I actually don't have many examples for this one, because apparently most of the stuff I watch either doesn't really have a status quo, or is just status quo, because it's just like a cartoon or something, where there's no big overarching plot.
Yeah, it's, I think Western cartoons tend to be more episodic, and have, the unchanging status quo. Also, remember my example, I was going to talk about Dragon Ball and how that actually changes what is normal a hell of a lot.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Way more often than you think it would, and you probably don't give it credit for doing this.
Yeah, the only real true constant is that damned Son Goku is going to surpass his limits. How? You'll have to find out.
Yeah. I forget which Tournament of Power, episode recap started with, somehow Goku overcame that immense difference in power almost instantaneously.
Somehow?
It's yeah, that's the show. That's the show!
Though, in fairness, now that you've mentioned Dragon Ball, I can just mention last episode of Super. Real good, because it manages to surprise you.
Yeah, and compare it to the last episode of Z.
Mm-hmm.
Last episode of Z kind of had to be an epilogue, almost.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't do a grand finale that was grander than any of the other grand finales. Dragon Ball has quite a few good finale episodes.
Yeah, the Frieza fight, Goku actually dying for real this time, we swear.
So yeah, so for a show like this, not gonna spoil what, but, something happens this episode that, if they'd done it earlier, the first time they teased at it, this would have been a completely different show.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel if they changed something that much that early on, they'd had to keep changing things.
Yeah, and they probably couldn't have, though, at least for this show. Apparently for XA, they can change that as much as they want.
Yeah, God, if this podcast did not burn me out on podcasts, we would do an X8 podcast. Because that changes so much that it really does help to have a record of what you felt at which episode.
Yep.
but enough talk about that.
Well, actually, real quick.
Okay.
I guess in order to attempt to have an example, I'll just again build off of yours. But if anything, the finale of Z was actually kind of more status quo than a lot of it. I feel like the battle against Kid Buu is like the most iconic of Dragon Ball Z. Because it's got like big empty fields so that it can explode a whole lot. It's got a lot of the energy that I think of when I think of Dragon Ball Z as a whole.
It's got the spirit bomb.
Yep.
Everyone give me your energy.
Spirit Bomb's there. And then you just have a Vegeta moment where he just talks about how good Goku is. So just reinforce that at the last second as well. It's a culmination of everything else.
But yeah, I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about the actual last episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's, 10 years in the future or whatever.
Yeah.
Where Pan is introduced. And is so much... God, Toriyama writes Pan so much better than anyone else, and I don't know what the hell is up. She's just a child. Why is Toriyama so much better at this?
Yeah,
How's everyone else fucking this up so much?
Toriyama writing Pan has just been writing Pan as a baby. And yet, so much better than GT.
As a baby and as a 5-year-old, or however old she was at the end of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's just... her entire contribution to that episode is just the Kid Goku joke, but with a girl this time.
Yeah.
And it works, damn it! And yeah, her episode in Super rules.
Yep, just baby's day out, but the baby has superpowers.
God, I forgot I accidentally plagiarized Super by doing that with Trunks as a baby.
Just runs in the Saiyan race, I guess.
So yeah, I think that's enough talk about status quos. At this point, these discussions are almost a formality.
Mm-hmm. They, in themselves, are a status quo. Whoa, blew your mind there.
Yeah, I'm gonna break him by not having him for the last 3 episodes because we need to talk about the episode right now.
Alright, so, episode 48, The Face Beneath the Mask. Thus the use of Beneath the Mask earlier. We pick up in Hell once again, this time to continue Noel's bad day. His other bad day. He's had a lot of bad days recently, now that I think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Had a moment of turmoil with his friends. Got beaten up real bad by several different ganglars. He's had his head handed to him by both of DeGranio's top dogs. And now he's here in Hell.
Lupin Ranger vs. Pat Ranger, subtitle, Fuck Noel.
You think he's so great when he's introduced? Guess what? We're gonna beat him up. We're about to ruin this man's entire career. Anyway, he's in front of DeGranio, who actually stands up to taunt him. As he muses about Noel's ancestry, he just straight up digs his nail into Noel's face. There's blood and everything.
No one really reacts. Not even Noel.
Yeah, he just sits there while his face is cut, and he's just gonna have that injury for the rest of the episode. Noel asks him why he killed Arsene Lupin and stole the collection. DeGranio says that he merely saw something interesting and took it, a response which angers even Noel. But when he tries to get up, Gauche electrocutes him, knocking him out. DeGranio then decides that if they're going to kill Noel, they should make a production out of it. Oh no, DeGranio is starting to care about things again.
I'm sure it's fine.
Back at Jure, Kairi and the gang think that they're having the worst day, what with Zamigo's appearance. Umika peeks out the door, which Kairi notices. She's now concerned over the cops showing up and overhearing them talk about Phantom Thief stuff. Yuma suggests that they just pack up and leave because they can't be Phantom Thieves and pal around with the cops at the same time. Umika admits that she doesn't want things to change because she started to like life at Jure. That maybe after they were done, that they could remain in Jure, with the cops continuing to be their regulars. But enough about that. Good Striker arrives to deliver the mad news. Noel's gonna die. Cue the intro.
Just, oh man, I was hoping you could be like this forever. Goody, well, too bad.
Well, guess what? There's already a threat to that. Did you like Noel? Well, that'll be past tense. When that's over and done with, we return to the police HQ. Everybody's looking over the collection pieces given to them by Noel. Tsukasa wonders if Kairi and the others knew about Noel's true identity, And of course, Sakia says that if they didn't know, there's no way that Umik and the others would either. But this isn't the time for debating the Phantom Thieves' identities. It's time to be sad about Noel. Everyone is determined to save him for all he's done, though Hilltop does remind them that they don't have a plan yet. The best idea Jim has is to wait for another Ganglar to appear so they can go to the Ganglar world. Turns out he's been analyzing Ghosh's previous actions, so the plan is to probably kill a Ganglar, then jump Ghosh and use her portal. I say probably, because there's no need for that plan. Ghosh hijacks the signal of TVs and tablets all over Japan to announce the live dissection of Noel Takeo. Kogure, of course, rushes in de jour to present the stream to the Lupins. Ghosh gives the exact location and time of the execution. Noon at an abandoned purification plant near Toshin Park. The juror trio, of course, are disturbed by the announcement of a dang public execution. Goody begs them to save Noel, but Kogure suggests they leave him. This is, after all, a very obvious trap, and since Noel gave up the collection pieces anyway, it's too much of a risk to try and save him over nothing. At the police HQ, Tsukasa's also realized that this is a trap, but Kaitro says that it's the only chance they have to save Noel. Hilltop tells Jim to section off Toshin Park and tells the tactical unit to watch themselves. As they rush off, we return to Jur, where Kairi tells Kogure that Ghosh has a collection piece, meaning it's their job to go to Toshin anyway. With a way to excuse the rescue mission as a collection retrieval, the group holds their versus changers out and their usual vow pose. We cut to the water treatment plant where the tactical unit rushes in, guns already out. Bad news, DeGranio's there in person for the dissection.
It's just like, what sort of trap could she possibly set that's more threatening than her? Oh,
right, her boss.
They walk in, he just starts like slamming his cane on his shoulders over and over again.
Noel tries to warn them, but is punched by Ghosh. Potamen run in, so the cops Kaisatsu change for a fight. Potamen are nothing, so that fight goes well, but Noel does seem touched that everyone is fighting for him. But the momentum doesn't stay for the Pat Rangers for long, as Ghosh quickly makes her way to the battle. Or at least as quick as you can be when you're sauntering. She never doesn't saunter.
I know we brought it up in the last episode, but we should maybe mention again how Noel is restrained.
Yep, T-pose.
It's called a crucifixion.
You're never gonna...
I'm not giving you another chance to send yourself to hell.
You're never gonna get me to call it a crucifixion. The cross, that's just a way to get people to T-pose.
It's just a big T. I don't know why you keep calling it a cross.
And right off the bat, Ichigo runs toward her and gets hit by explosive punches. Apparently Ghosh can just do that. The one way to make a main character stand more terrifying, and Ghosh just knows how to do it, and hasn't done so until now, to my knowledge. She just fucking Ora-Ora's Ichigo. And he explodes. Somehow that doesn't take him out instantly. Anyway, the Pat Rangers do manage to work together enough to not get completely destroyed, at least until Ghosh pulls out her sword. She backs all three of them against the railing and fires up a laser that starts blue, but changes to white and orange after a moment. One sweep from that, and the Pat Rangers are all tossed down a level into a wall. Needless to say, they de-transform and look far worse for wear. If there's one thing I appreciate about Ghosh is that, true to her nature, she does always have another trick. Like, she's got 3 safe powers in the first place, but also has, like, 1,000,000 natural powers as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Ghosh is the only character we've seen who has more safe powers than saves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that she not only has 1 extra, but she has 2 extra. And then it's interesting that she just keeps doing new things in this fight.
Yep. She is, of course, a lot more subtle than Destra. Well, we can discuss that later. With the Pat Rangers out of the way, Ghosh saunters over to Noelle, ready for dissection. She pulls her blade back in a very non-dissecting way, and the tactical unit can only shout in anger as they watch. However, Ghosh is interrupted in the same way most Ganglars are, which is to say, she is shot several times in the back. The Phantom Thieves drop in just in time, determined to rescue X. Degranio is excited because he's been waiting for the thieves. Geez, will the Lupin Rangers bias ever end? While the Phantom Thieves don't feel like speaking to him, Degranio is up to something. He wants the three of them to remove their masks, not just to himself, or even the Pat Rangers still lying bloodily in the corner, but to all of the humans watching the live stream as well. Blue mutters about being part of the show as well, while we get a whole lot of crowd reactions, like Kogure, who stands up while watching, very worried about where this is headed. We also see the stream catch Zamigo's attention, who notes that a trick like that might mean that Degranio is back to his old self. But anyway, Degranio offers to let X go free if they reveal their identities. Noelle warns them that if they take off their masks, they can't go back. As the group contemplates what to do, they look to Yellow. She looks to Sakia, who looks concerned. But once again, she thinks back to her friend encased in ice before shattering. She turns to the others and nods. Red asks if she's sure, and she says that she's ready. The Phantom Thieves step forward and reveal that the cops' concerns were real. Indeed, the Phantom Thieves that everyone's been talking about have been the Juror Trio all along. They all smile, probably from relief, except for Kyrie, who honestly looks kind of excited. It's like he's also been waiting for this reveal for the entire show.
I was gonna say, I really like this scene.
It's so good.
Because this is something that, like, all the characters kind of know.
Mm-hmm.
Even Sakia, I think, knows. He's just being obstinate about it.
Yeah. It's clear from the way he's looking at Yellow in that scene that he's kind of sure at this point.
Yeah, so it could have fallen flat because it's not really revealed to anyone, not even the audience.
Mm-hmm. Especially not the audience.
Yeah, especially not the audience. But just the way that they all react to having their identities blown really makes it an interesting scene.
Mm.
And I forget who, because I read this forever ago on Tumblr, but somebody's pointed out that you can tell their bodies, their physiology looks slightly different from the rest of the scenes of the suits. So it's most likely the actual actors instead of the suit actors in the costumes.
Yep.
Occasionally they fake it, they just superimpose their head over the suit actor's head.
They probably didn't want to risk it there.
Yeah, this doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, let's make sure not to screw this one up with that green screening or whatever. The tactical unit, however, isn't excited. Noelle is on the verge of tears. Kogure fucking collapses in his chair, probably thinking of what documents he's going to need to forge to get them out of town. And just everyone around town is shocked to see the Lupin Rangers' identities revealed, and some of them even recognize the Juror Trio.
I wish the Kogure had, like, a teacup and a teapot next to him. He looks at the full teacup and then just picks up the pot and starts chugging it.
Also, Zamigo is clapping excitedly.
That was the best.
Just a crowd shot of, oh god, aren't those guys from Jur? And just Zamigo.
Yeah!
I don't even know you people, but hell yeah!
Degranio! Degranio!
Woo, I know that Lupin Red is a nerd!
You just say something like, that's why you're my boss, right?
A little later.
Or does that come later? Sorry. I forgot.
Back at the plant, Kyrie decides it's go time and throws a calling card at Degranio before the three of them Kaito change. Honestly, the live stream crowd is probably losing their shit at this point. I mean, I know I was. And I'm not the IRL audience member in those scenes. I like that this is a big dramatic moment, but like everybody's probably just hyped. Just go to Twitter. Oh fuck yeah, it's the Lupin Rangers.
Also, I had my chronology mixed up. This is what I was talking about with the suit.
Okay.
When With the actual ranger suits, not their disguise
Yeah,
suits. Why did I have two suits? Gotta make it harder for me to talk about things.
Well, one's for disguising and one's for fighting. They're the Lupin Rangers. They're fancy. They gotta have two suits.
It's kind of just like we have a disguise, we have a backup disguise in case the first disguise fails.
I mean, like, one disguises to be stylish. Not that the, Ranger outfits aren't, but like, got the classic masks on the other one. And actual top hats instead of top hat mask design. Gauche steps forward while Degranio takes a seat. They fight and do pretty well. I guess swords just aren't effective against them. They absorb sword elements. Lasers, however, are still effective against them, and once again Gauche blasts 3 Rangers away. But they're not done yet, and they rush back into the fights. I guess they resist lasers at least a little bit. As the cops struggle to their feet, Good Striker approaches them. As Gauche and the Lupins have their fight, Degranio turns and sees Pat Ranger Hugo leaping down to rescue Noel. Of course, Degranio just taps his staff lazily to attack. But the Pat Rangers are wise to this tactic, and they have a plan. Just before the attack hits, they split. In an instant, Ichigo is fucking blasted into the wall while Sangu and Nigu manage to pass by and land safely. Degranio seems a little impressed, at least.
I completely forgot about that move, and it fucking rules.
It does. Just part of the plan is, alright guys, I'm probably gonna eat shit on this one, but...
Because, like, I love Yugo fights. I love every time they go out and do something other than just shoot.
Uh-huh.
But I forgot that, oh right, he has a tactical advantage as well.
Alright, if we're 1 and then we split into 3, he can't get all of us. Alright, so, I'm gonna label myself 1. You 2, label yourselves 3 and 4. He's gonna try to attack 2 next, but he won't be able to do it. As long as he forgets that we're name-themed, or number-themed, he can't get us.
We're raid this warehouse on September 15th. They can't stop all of us.
Degranio probably just thinks I'm Pat Ranger Red or something. Degranio knows Italian, not Japanese. Why would he get the Ichigo pun? Gauche expresses disappointment over not being able to dissect X, and summons another terrible chimera to prevent his escape. This one's black instead of red, so you know it's gone through an upgrade, better stats, etc., etc. This, however, is a mistake on her part. Degranio expresses disappointment that she needed to summon help. And he raises his voice as he tells her that since she set up the game, she might as well enjoy it without extra help. At last, Degranio activates his safe power. Every other safe in the room opens, and their collection pieces fly over to Degranio. That's right, his safe power is theft. He's smart. He stole the Steal Everything collection piece first. Didn't even need to kill Arsene Lupin. Just got the one to steal things. Could have just stolen everything. Had to kill Arsene Lupin just for the hell of it.
He didn't have any pieces until after he killed Arsene Lupin.
Okay, that's right.
So that he just held on to that piece just in case. Anyone looking to start shit, he can just take everything back.
At first, he just got the collection piece that made him whine. This is all I need. Well, that theft one's looking pretty good. It's like kind of our shit.
We already made the joke about him having a collection piece, like Vin Rouge, right?
Yes.
I remember looking up how to say red wine in French.
Degranio laughs as he turns and teleports out. We cut to the main crowd where Zamigo smiles and says, "Now that's why you're my boss." But while Gauche is distracted by this sudden betrayal, the Lupin Rangers shoot her over and escape.
That's why you're my boss. You have no respect for your subordinates.
I love that in a guy.
Working with you is a fucking nightmare.
I hate respect. This rules.
I love it when my boss just on a dime decides, you know what?
Fuck
Fuck
you.
you.
Outside, they find Noelle and the Pat Rangers, and the tension is as awkward as you'd expect. Noelle apologizes for what happened, but Red just says that he owes them one. Yellow tries to get Saki's attention. He doesn't turn around. Sangu also gives Noelle his versus changer just in time. Gauche and her creation exit the building, and she's quite angry. Everyone lines up, and Ichigo asks for the Lupin's cooperation. Noelle Kaito changes, and everyone poses for the fight. Red activates Victory Striker, Ichigo activates Siren Striker for X, and everyone prepares their special attacks. Not to be outdone, Gauche and her creation begin charging attacks as well. Everyone fires, and the park fucking explodes. Of course, the Rangers are still standing once it dissipates. Gauche is not. But it appears that wasn't enough to kill her, as neither she nor her creation are reduced to their safes. That being said, not quite as good as Destra, because he would have still been standing. Gauche struggles upwards before tearing out her own safe and planting it in her creation. She declares this to be her final experiment before she collapses and explodes. Of course, the creation grows in size, and the Rangers make their escape. But upon grappling/leaping to a safe location, Ichigo collapses due to DeGranio's earlier attack. The Lupins tell them to leave the rest to them, and Nigu hands Cyclone over to Yellow. He's mad for a little bit, but he's less mad. But only a little. Red activates Magnum's big form, Sango and Nigu launch X's trains, and the Lupins activate their Kaiser. Magnum charges forward for the first strikes against the Chimera, who attempts to run before he's beaten up by the other two Zords. But he's somehow stopped by the tiny shots of the Pat Rangers. It's mostly because he's annoyed, though. He's not really hurt, he just turns around and spits a fireball at them. But that was enough of a distraction, as several giant calling cards and a water laser pass over the cops' heads. X-Emperor then slashes the Chimera backwards, and with that, X-Emperor uses Gunner Strike, and the Kaiser used the Smack 'em Down kick. Gauche's final experiment comes to an end, as the Chimera is blown to smithereens. In the Kaiser's control room, Goody asks the crew what they're going to do now. Red says that's a good question, because they had no plan at all. Yellow and Blue figure that they can't go back to Jour, and Red decides that Kogure could find somewhere else for them to go. The Kaiser pulls apart, and Yellow gives a final adieu to Sakia. The Lupins fly away, leaving Sakia in tears. Kaitra and Tsukasa can only watch, but neither has anything to say to console their friend. End of episode.
Also, Style Fighter Magic is carrying Trigger Machine Splash.
This is a tragic scene, but yes, that is adorable.
It's really cute. I love it. So yeah, pretty good episode.
Yeah, that was really good. Like I said last time, I've been waiting for the reveal episode. But first,
I do want to talk about. Go ahead.
You go ahead first.
All right, I do want to talk about the big fight because the perspective shift to like the ground level perspective was really good.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's popped up in other Sentai shows, but we haven't seen a whole lot of it in this show. I think back during the first Chimera, we saw the Lupin Rangers, watch the fight for a bit, but they didn't really get involved.
Yeah.
So with this having the Power Rangers fire, get attacked, the cards fly over their head, like we've seen Lupin Magic's special move, the standard way a whole lot, so seeing it like this is actually really cool.
Yeah, it makes it more impressive. The perspective is good. Also,
it just reminds me of how disappointing City Shrouded in Darkness was. Because they didn't focus on that enough and instead had a fucking Yakuza subplot for no goddamn reason. Because it's not enough that Ultraman, Ava, Godzilla... It's not enough that all this shit is happening. We have to deal with the Yakuza too.
Shame that game didn't work out, because that is such a good concept. They could have made such a good disaster report game from that. Forgot the
Yeah,
name
it's
for
like,
just a second.
honestly, after watching Raw Danger, I don't know what else you could do with standard disasters. I feel like you've exhausted that well.
There is a new one coming out for Switch, I think, like fairly soon.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, I didn't mean from a gameplay perspective, I meant more just from, like, a storytelling and writing perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like, gameplay, you can, tighten everything up and make it more fun to play. But just, like, Raw Danger did so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I can't think of any other disaster I need to see, except for giant monster fights.
But yeah, I'd also like to mention, since I guess we're doing the giant fight first, since, it's just a chimera, it's less interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
I thought the choreography was actually pretty good for this one. In part, I think because, like, they obscured a little bit of it with the buildings, so, like, there's a little more movement and is a little more interesting. It was partially covered,
Yeah.
but I feel like that was just so the fight could be a bit more active. Like, that first part with the Magnum was
Yeah.
actually pretty well done.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Just a small change in perspective makes a fight seem so much more interesting.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was a chimera. We've seen one of them before, and that other one was way more interesting because it
I
did
was
get
about to
collection
say,
pieces.
I didn't even know if we were going to talk about the Ganglar because we've hit the problem of like, well, we've already talked about everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we could talk about Ghosh.
Yeah.
We got.
We're gonna look back on Ghosh because she's been a major character, and now she's dead.
We got 3 more episodes. I guess no more big fights. Unless the Granio's going to do it himself.
I mean, we saw it in the previews. I'm not gonna play coy about it.
I meant enlarge everyone himself because he has that safe power now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Ghosh. I'll be honest, did not expect her to get betrayed. I thought she would be doing the betraying at some point. Like,
yeah, I think that's how they got you.
Yep. Because way back when we discussed, like, the difference between a right hand and a left hand in this context. The right hand is the loyal one, and the left hand is, like, the, more sneaky, deceptive one. And they played it pretty straight at first, and, to be fair, continued playing it straight to a certain extent. Ghosh has always been very underhanded. Like, she's strong. She, in fact, calls herself the strongest Ganglar just before she dies. When she's coming out of the strongest warehouse, and it's like, I don't give a shit. I'm still fucking great, which is,
Mm-hmm.
amazing. But,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like, she's very strong. She just keeps most of her stuff hidden, unlike Destra, who's not subtle.
Yeah. With Destry, you knew he was going to be a motherfucker to fight. With Ghosh, you felt like it would be more annoying than tough, but surprise, she's actually very tough.
Yeah, like, she had one fight super early on when Red fought her alone in the warehouse, or the secret base, or that, whatever you could call that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, he seemed like he was handling her well enough. Her thing was mostly just, like, dodging everything, and she had her secret safe power and all that, but as it turns out, she's just, I don't want to say lazy. She intentionally does this stuff.
Yeah, she was just holding back at the moment.
Yeah, like, Destra pretty much only held on to one trick until the end, and that's the fact that he could make an entire city block explode.
2 tricks, he also had the laser.
Okay, yeah. But
that didn't do anything, so it's easier to forget.
Yeah, that was his final attack when he just tried to silver chariot everyone. But yeah, Ghosh had a third safe power all along. She had that laser, which is real good. Just, hey, here's this laser. It's blue hot. That's pretty bad. Oh, guess what? It's orange hot now. Surprise, idiot. I can just party wipe you.
Turns out my laser is even stronger than you thought.
But yeah, she has been very sneaky the entire time, and that set her apart from Destra a whole lot, and I appreciate that, even though, she herself never really got involved with that many fights until the end. Which, again, is why it's a surprise that she's the one who got betrayed.
Yeah. It's sort of interesting because, like, looking back, I don't think there's anything to lead me to believe that she would betray Degranio specifically.
Mm-hmm. Like, just...
She very clearly didn't give a shit about Daystra.
Yeah, she didn't care about
She
Destra.
sold him out every chance she got.
Mm-hmm. And, like, Degranio's her boss, but it just seems to be a situation of if she could figure out something better, she probably would betray him.
It's hard to tell how much of her affection is like, I'm being nice to my boss, and how much is I just genuinely like Degranio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think because she does sort of, not show her actual, like, feelings to her standing, and the fact that she is as sneaky as she is, that you do sort of just assume, yeah, she's gonna traitor him.
Time to get traitored by Ghosh. But no, she gets traitored. And it's like, it's just such a weird thing to watch happen.
Yeah, it's pretty quick when it happens.
It's like, it's not like this suddenly makes me care about Ghosh, but what the fuck, man? what is your deal? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, Degranio starting to care again is actually pretty scary, as it turns out.
The worst thing that could have happened. Turns out the only thing keeping you alive was my apathy.
Yep. Pretty much. Just, we start the episode with Noelle being like, what the fuck? Why would you be so,
How could you be so cruel and heartless?
You killed Arsene Lupin for just a petty reason of, I wanted that. And as it turns out, yeah, Degranio's getting his groove back, and he's just very petty and destructive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I was disappointed that during that scene, Degranio did not say, "But enough talk," and throw his wine glass.
There's at least one episode left where he could do that. But yeah, I guess that's also a good, cool thing that I should mention now is just the fact that the only reason everybody has survived through the show thus far is the fact that Degranio has been so apathetic.
And now
they
have to survive 3 more episodes.
Yeah, so after his whole game and seeing Ganglar after Ganglar fail, he's decided to get back in action, so deal with that.
I'm trying desperately not to make this joke, but I really genuinely think that next episode might start with, so we watch the rest of the show.
I mean, it's only 2 more episodes, or 3 more episodes after this, so,
Yeah.
But just... Degranio will wait patiently for 48 episodes before deciding he doesn't want to retire.
I mean, what are his options now? Who's going to succeed him?
Yeah, there are fucking no Ganglars left.
There's Tokagale's even worse brother. There's like a whole family of Penguinos that I can't fucking stand.
You know what? Now that I'm back doing my thing, I'm just gonna have them killed. I don't need to bother sending them out to die. I can just hire a hit on them. I am the hit. I don't need to hire anyone.
I am the hit. I've hired a hitman. Knock, knock, the hitman was me.
But yeah.
Oh, God. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot other than Ghosh to talk about.
Yeah. I guess I'll just...
The thing has happened, but we haven't seen much fallout from it yet.
Yeah.
Everyone's fairly standoffish and doesn't really want to talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know from the previews that next episode is when all the fallout's going to happen.
Yeah, next episode is when the double red shippers are going to lose their fucking minds.
But yeah, is there anything else I want to talk about the reveal? I don't think there's that much else to talk about. Again, I've been waiting for it. I do love the moment where the secret thieves, or whatever they happen to be in a given show, have to reveal the secret in front of a big live audience. Just naturally has a whole lot of attention attached to it.
Whole lot of subtext. Especially given the, like, nervous, I'm happy that we're no longer keeping a secret, but also, oh god.
Though, yeah,
Look, everything has clear subtext. I don't make the rules.
Meanwhile, I do appreciate that Kyrie's excited.
Mm-hmm. Everything is slightly gay except apparently Tokyo Drifts. I didn't watch that movie, so I'm not aware.
It's straight. The characters just every 10 minutes just turn to the camera and say, by the way, we're straight.
I'm gonna have to watch this movie to know what exactly you're referring to. Because I feel like you're making fun of a very specific reoccurring thing, rather than just the general pervasiveness of a character being straight.
But yeah, I guess that's just about it. Like, there's not much to talk about. A lot of tension built up about the Lupin Rangers keeping their identities, and now that's gone, so...
I will say I am now questioning whether the Lupin Rangers actually showed up without helmets but in suits. I'm now trying to figure out if that actually happened in this episode or not, and I'm slowly getting more and more self-conscious. When the Lupin Rangers do show up helmetless but in suits, it's actually them and not their suit actors.
It happens between initially when they suit up, their helmets aren't on.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. These episodes are like kind of a blur for me because I watched all of them so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But also, that's another thing I very quickly talk about. That normally happens in the last episode.
Yep.
It's called like the helmetless roll call or something.
Yeah.
Where they'll do the transformation sequence, but the helmets won't pop on until after they say their thing.
Yeah, because it's cooler like that, because either, oh man, their identities have been revealed, or, oh man, battle damage.
Yeah. So yeah, it's neat to see it this early.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so...
But I think that does it. I think we've
time.
exhausted... Oh, prediction. You have a prediction.
Okay, so... We've got 3 episodes, we've got 2 major ganglars. I know from the preview that Degranio and Zamiga will both appear. The question is, which one of them's going to die first? Who's going to be the actual final villain? It's kind of a tough call, but I feel like it's going to be Zamigo. Because I feel like Degranio's the more immediate threat, so he's going to be more in everyone's face. I don't know if he's going to die in this episode or the next one, though. But either way, I feel like Zamigo himself has more like an emotional context for everyone, especially for the Lupin Rangers, of course, but now the Pat Rangers are sort of tied to him as well because all of the ganglars that they've been killing have been using disguises from real humans. Degranio, while he is the boss and would still be like an emotional character to defeat for everyone, you know, being the one who scattered the Lupin collection, he killed Noel's dad, who was Arsene Lupin.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, both of them have that emotional weight to them. But I feel like Zamigo's got a little more. Also, in terms of the intro, like, just the fact that he's had such prominence in it for so long, of him, like, walking away from Frozen City ruins, make me think he's, like, pretty significant. And also, I want to see the version of the intro where all 3 of the ganglars just crumble to dust, because I know that's going to happen to Ghosh in the next episode. Like, it's gotta. But I also want to see just the Degranio table scene in the intro, where just all 3 of their souls collapse at once.
Yeah. I don't want to go into it too much, but I've talked before about how people see the Pot Rangers as kind of a throwback to earlier Sentai teams.
Mm-hmm.
Degranio is very much an early Sentai villain that he has no personal connection to anyone, really.
Mm-hmm.
He did kill Noel's dad.
Who is Arsene Lupin.
But he's the 6th Ranger, so it's also a little screwy in that department. Where, like, yeah, the 6th Ranger gets a unique connection, but nobody else does.
Mm-hmm.
I've not watched a whole lot of Sentai at all, let alone enough to know the difference between modern and non-modern. Classic Sentai, yeah. I should say. But I know that in general, there has been more of a trend of linking villains to heroes in some way.
Mm-hmm.
It's that concept has been around forever, but it became more prevalent in like late 80s, early 90s. giving the villains a more personal link to the hero.
Yeah, it just makes sense from a storytelling standpoint.
Yeah, but specifically in like superhero media like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So, yeah, I will say these definitely feel like two end boss villains. Like, either one could be the main villain at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The final villain, I should be saying.
Yeah. At this point, they're both dangerous enough and prominent enough that it could go either way.
Yeah, and it doesn't even feel really like Zamigo is a dragon situation. He feels like just a second final villain.
Yeah, like, he's never real... Like, he said himself he doesn't want Degranio's position. So, like, he's not really been working for Degranio. He's just been giving
Yeah,
disguises to the people who want to replace Degranio. Because that's just his
and
business.
and even the whole like that's why you're my boss isn't like a and that's why I'm loyal to you. It's like and that's why you're my friend.
Yeah. It's just, hey, look at that guy.
The emphasis is on my, not boss.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, toss up Zamigo or Degranio, who will live longer. All right, I'll stop commenting on that
Yep, that seems like it's just about
before
it.
I accidentally spoil it or something. But yeah, I think that does it for this episode. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at LRBSPR. Fafner is at Fafner Masamune. If you want to email us, you can email us at LupinRecap via PatReview@gmail.com. And we will see you in the next episode.
Adieu.